Good stuff. What's going on, guys? Today is not going to be a tutorial or anything like that. I'm just going to be talking, I guess, a little bit about myself, since I never really, I guess, officially introduced myself into this whole crazy YouTube world. Um, as you know, my name is Aram. I am a filmmaker. I'm also a photographer. And a lot of people have been asking me, what do I do? I got few Facebook messages. Some people messaging me privately asking me, how I've learned all those kind of stuff. And, well, to kind of summarize everything, I really been doing filmmaking completely honestly, altogether actually, not just filmmaking, like photography as well, for about a little bit over 3 years. And I'm just gonna show you guys clips in just a second here of some of my first stuff. You know, um, I had a day job, and I just wanted to do, I guess, something different for myself a little bit. And about three little bit plus years ago, I took interest in film, and I really started seriously learning the filmmaking. Well, um, at the time when I was trying to learn it, I couldn't find any material on how to do things. There's, hundreds of YouTube channels, for example, and everybody talk and talk and talk, and you watch 20 minutes, and then you're like, hey, hold on a second, this guy didn't really explain anything, and especially about color grading. For example, when I first started color grading, and I actually started color grading as soon as I got my first camera was T2i, and I remember I got a bootleg version of DaVinci Resolve, and half of the stuff didn't work, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And a little bit later after that, I took a really, really deep interest in the filmmaking. And at that time, there's this crazy new company came up, and it was Blackmagic Design. And I remember seeing this, 2.5K camera and the crazy 13 stop of dynamic range and crazy advertisement. And I was like, hey, you know what? I gotta get this thing. And, I pre-ordered it, and I think it took, I don't know what, like 9 months or some crazy like this. And at that time, I wasn't really doing anything. I was just kind of, playing with T2i. I wasn't doing any photography or anything like that. And I remember I received the camera, and there was this little dongle in there, a little USB dongle for DaVinci Resolve. I immediately went outside and recorded a little bit because I was so excited about this camera. It was such a huge deal. And I came home and, installed the DaVinci Resolve and all that, and I started playing with it. And, at that moment, I completely got my head blown out. I was like, wow, this is completely different world from DSLR and all like that. And little by little, I was searching YouTube and tried to find, basically I had to glue pieces of information that I could find. Like I said earlier, there's tons of materials out there, but nobody really tells you exactly what you need to do. The books, the expensive tutorials you buy, YouTube, Vimeo. Everybody sound like they know what they're talking about, but you watch 20, 30 minutes of it, and it's like, well, I didn't really learn anything. So the beginning was very rough. I had no idea what the f-stop is. I had no idea what ISO for, the exposure and all that. And it's pretty much just a little bit over 3 years ago. And, I kept going. I didn't give up. A couple years ago, I actually quit my job, and I decided to become freelance. And right now I do a lot of fashion photography and portrait photography in particular. I also do a lot of freelance color grading work, as you guys probably can tell. I also do a lot of cinematography, again, freelance cinematography. And basically, I guess the reason why I decided to do this little introduction blog, just for you guys know that you really don't need to have a lot of years behind you in order to become a better cinematographer or better filmmaker, especially right now. I mean, even 3 years ago, the software they have right now, the cameras they have right now, realistically, all those stuff right now are very, very affordable. I'm not saying they're cheap, they're not cheap, but if you really have passion for it, it's very, very affordable. So when I got my 2.5K camera and I started playing with it, um, when I quit my work, my nighttime job, I was working many years night shift. I kind of wanted to be a hands-on guy, and even though I've done a little bit of photography in college and like in high school when I was younger, I never was, really a photographer. I kind of had Minolta camera, and I think I still have like a Pentax film camera. I was just goofing around with it. But anyways, when I quit my job, my idea was to really become all hands-on person, being able to do film and color and all that. And to tell you the truth, I think once I became sort of like a photographer, because for a little bit I kind of moved all the film things on the side, and when I became like a photographer again, I didn't know anything. There was no really good tutorials, tons of videos on the YouTube again, but really nobody tells you, hey, you got to do this and this and that for that. Everybody sounds like they know what they're doing, but the final result is always kind of mediocre. Anyways, where I'm going with this, that shooting for about a year, I spent about a year pretty much strictly as a photographer, and it gave me incredible knowledge of the color grading and cinematography. Even though I started cinematography before the photography, but actual still photography completely blew my mind. I didn't even realize how much more skills the still photography gave me. You know, Obviously when you work in a Photoshop, you have one frame really and nothing moving, you don't have to track anything, but kind of painting light, creating a very epic, surreal effects, and I'm gonna put all those stuff on a screen for you guys. It gave me a really incredible ability to kind of look at the things and sort of immediately come up with a solution. What is the best way to color grade? Or even as cinematographer, it opened my mind so much more about the lighting, because even before, when I was doing like filming and all that, I was pretty much just an average Joe. I would, point the camera completely for no reason. Camera never would tell a story. It was never anything interesting. I would always expose, crank it up. Oh, everything's bright. Okay, that's a good exposure. I was never sort of understanding why I'm pointing camera there. But once I started doing photography, and especially fashion photography, I immediately picked up a lot of, obviously, fashion. You need to know how your talent looks and what's appropriate, matching the face, matching the background. It's not, go in the woods and shoot it against the green stuff with a stupid red flare on the side. It's incredible how much photography can really improve your skills as cinematographer and colorist. I've learned probably more than 80% of what I know right now just by doing still photography. And start shooting landscapes and got myself more in like a portraits and all that. And what really was groundbreaking photo shoot for me, when I did little soldier World War II mock-up with my friend Randy. we went to the woods, and I had this kind of rip off cheap plastic helmet that I bought from the eBay. And I was telling the guy, I'm like, hey, pretend like it's an action scene. Don't just be still, because he was posing still, and that wasn't giving me life. He was posing as he would pose for the portrait, and I was telling him, like, look, scream, scream for real. Nobody's around us. Nobody gonna laugh. Just give me action. And he was doing all those crazy stuff, and I was shooting like crazy. I don't like, doing the burst shots because it's kind of cheap, but I really wanted to catch that moment. I really wanted to catch that real life, look in his eyes. And I was shooting bursts, and when I came home and I started going through the pictures, I saw a couple really, really good pictures. And after I finished editing them, at that point, I think it really opened my mind about the colors, about composition, about, just in general, a good photography. And again, the reason why I'm doing all this boring narrative to you guys, just don't be afraid to expand your skills. Don't be afraid, to go and use whatever camera you have right now. Just go out there and try to do still photography, and don't just try it for one day, and don't get upset if something's not working. Like, really try, and you're gonna be amazed of how much it really gives you incredible skills improvement of everything. You're gonna become better cinematographer. Eventually, after maybe a month or two, you're gonna completely understand the colors, what goes well, and the general composition. So, I'm not trying to be all boring and all that. Just kind of, I guess, answering a few questions from what people send me. So yeah, that's about it. I've been working right now on this new tutorial for you guys. So probably gonna post it tomorrow, maybe, or Monday. We'll see. And I just wanted to share with you a little bit of my background and what I do and all that. So, well, alright, I guess I'll see you in a couple days, and we'll do more awesome tutorials. Alright, well, stay cool.